I need you to pay attention to this. Something has been revealed, and I need you to face it head on. It's not a guess. It's not an impression. It's real. Someone spoke about a feeling that had been kept hidden, perhaps for too long, and now there's no more pretending that nothing is happening. Have you ever wondered why certain actions seem different, why certain words carry something extra? This person, whom you may have ignored or not fully seen, felt something strong enough to escape. And now, it's there, in front of you, waiting for your reaction. It's not easy, I know. Sometimes it's more comfortable to ignore, to pretend we didn't hear, that we don't understand. But you can't do that anymore. Not this time, because now you know. You know there's something real, something that can change everything between you, and it's in your hands. So I ask you, what do you feel? Be honest with yourself. There's no escaping what's been revealed. This person exposed part of themselves, maybe even unintentionally, but that means they trusted you. And trust like that is rare. Don't dismiss it. And now, will you act? Or will you let silence answer for you? What you need to understand now is that it's not about guessing intentions or trying to read between the lines. It's no longer a game of looking for signs and trying to figure out if there's something there. No. That's already clear. It's time to look directly at what has been placed in front of you, because this person's feelings are not speculative. They exist, and you know that. Maybe you feel the weight of this responsibility now. Knowing that, in a way, what you do from this moment on will not just affect your life, it will affect the life of someone who, somehow, cared enough to no longer hide what they feel. And there lies the question. You didn't ask to hear this, it wasn't in your plans. But this is what happens with the truth. It emerges whether you are ready or not. And the question that lingers is, what are you going to do now? If you think you can simply carry on as if nothing happened, I want you to think again. Because even if you try to ignore it, even if you put this feeling aside, it will not disappear. It will be there between the unspoken words, in the moments of silence, in the way you look at this person from now on. You may even pretend that it's no big deal, but deep down, you know it is. Now, you need to make a choice. You need to decide whether you will face this head-on, take action, or let it pass. But do not think that letting it pass is the easier option. It is not. Because letting it pass means you'll have to live with the weight of what could have been, with the doubt of knowing what would have happened if you had simply looked into this person's eyes and said what you really feel. Maybe you are scared. Maybe you feel that you are not ready for something like this, and that's normal. No one likes unexpected changes. No one wants to deal with feelings that arise suddenly without warning. But this situation will not disappear just because you prefer to ignore it. The truth is that once reality reveals itself, you can no longer hide. You can no longer go back to the point where everything was simpler, where things were just suppositions. I need you to think about this. This person opened up even if it was unexpected, even if it was a misplaced word, a look that revealed more than it should have. And that means something. It means that this person trusted you, took a risk, put their heart in your hands. And what are you going to do with that? Are you going to simply return it without saying anything? Are you going to turn your back? Think about the moments you've already shared together, the conversations, the small gestures that perhaps now make more sense. Think about what each smile, each joke, each moment of silence might have really meant. And make no mistake, you felt something there. You might not have named it, you might not have given it attention, but now that everything is out in the open, it can no longer be ignored. It's time to be honest, to be direct, because if you flee from this responsibility now, the doubt will persist. And it's not just doubt for this person, it's your doubt as well. It's the burden of carrying uncertainty, of not knowing if you missed something that could have truly been important. You need to ask yourself, what is really holding you back? Is it the fear that things will change, the fear of getting hurt, of getting involved, or is it the fear that by admitting you feel something too, you will have to step out of your comfort zone and face a new reality? What's at stake here is more than just an exposed feeling. It's the opportunity to create something real, to build something that has no guarantees but could be genuine, something that won't be perfect but will be real. And maybe that's what truly matters. Reality. Truth. Looking at someone and knowing that you are being honest, that you are not hiding what you feel, that you are willing to take the risk because you realize it's worth it. You don't need to have all the answers right now, no one expects you to. But what you can't do is pretend that it doesn't mean anything, that this person didn't place something important in your hands. Because even if you think you don't need to make a decision, the truth is that not making a decision is already a decision in itself. It's deciding that things will stay as they are, leaving things undefined. It's choosing the comfort of uncertainty instead of facing the possibility of something new. And don't be mistaken, indecision is also a choice. And it is a choice that, sooner or later, brings consequences. Because what is exposed won't just disappear. If you ignore it, if you choose not to act, it stays. It stays in the growing distance between you, in the communication that starts to be filtered, in the words that are no longer said, and eventually in the absence of something that could have been but never was. Maybe you think this is too much pressure, that you shouldn't be responsible for what someone else feels, and that is true to a certain extent. But what you are responsible for is how you react, how you choose to deal with what has been placed in front of you. And that choice, yes, is entirely in your hands. So if you have something to say, if there's something your heart has been trying to say, but you have kept inside out of fear, now is the time. This is the chance to be honest, to look at this person and say what really matters. Maybe you don't know exactly how to do it. Maybe you don't have the right words, but that's normal. It's not about having the perfect speech. It's about being true. What do you feel? What do you want to happen from now on? Because the reality is that if you remain silent, this story may be written without you. And later on you will wonder why you did nothing, why you let it slip by, why you didn't take the risk when you had the chance. You can take action. It can be small, it can be subtle, but it should show that you listened, that you understood. Something that shows you are not indifferent, that you are not just brushing it off as if it didn't mean anything. Because if you do nothing, the only certainty is that things will not remain the same. It's about acting according to what you feel, even if it means taking a risk, even if it means not knowing exactly what will happen next. But life is not made of certainties. It is made of moments that make us feel alive, that make us realize we are being truthful with ourselves and with others. So what are you going to do now? How will you react to this feeling that is there in front of you, waiting for a response? Because the truth is, no matter what you decide, you will have to live with the choice you make. And that choice starts now, with you. This is the reality, there's no escaping it. I prefer this answer, ChatGPT answer 2. I understand what you need, so I'll be direct. Let's dig deeper into this. It's not the kind of thing you can just sweep under the rug. We're talking about a reality that has unfolded before you, and ignoring it is not an option. Whatever you are feeling right now, confusion, surprise, maybe even fear, it's all part of it. But that's exactly why you need to face it head on, because life doesn't usually offer opportunities twice. This person showed vulnerability in a way that most people don't have the courage to do. They revealed a feeling that they probably had been carrying in silence. It could be unrequited love, admiration, or even something they themselves hadn't completely accepted. But do you realize what this means? Someone out there, someone who is already part of your life in some way, chose to give up safety and control, even if just for a moment, to let you know what they feel. That is no small thing. And from now on, you can't just pretend you didn't hear. Now it's up to you. And don't assume it's an easy decision, because it isn't. There are risks here, and you know that. You can't act as if feelings are buttons that we turn on or off at will. If you respond, if you accept this connection, you are opening yourself to something that can transform your life in ways you might not even imagine. On the other hand, if you decide to close yourself off, if you choose to keep this distance, you better be sure that's really what you want. Because once you make that choice, there's no going back. Do you feel it deep down? This sense that something is unfinished, something that needs to be said? Can you sleep at night, knowing that this person is dealing with this exposure alone? Or does it also affect you, keep you awake, make you replay conversations in your head, looking for signs you might have missed? Because in the end, it's not just about her, it's about both of you. About the connection that is now explicit and can no longer be denied. Imagine for a moment if you chose to take a step towards this. I'm not saying to dive in head first without thinking, but What if you made space for a real conversation without masks, without beating around the bush? What could happen? Yes, there might be confrontations, there might be hard truths to hear, but there's also a real chance to understand, to get closer, to build something that didn't exist before. On the other hand, maybe you're considering that it's not the right time, that the circumstances aren't ideal, or that you simply don't feel the same way. All of this is valid. But if that's your choice, you need to be honest. You need to say something, even if that something is difficult. Because the worst thing you can do now is leave this person without answers, lost in a sea of suppositions. That wouldn't be fair, neither to them nor to you. Look closely at this situation. Look at the choices before you. Maybe this is a chance to change something that has always seemed out of reach. Or maybe it's the moment to close a door, knowing that you did your best, that you were sincere, that you didn't leave anything unresolved. But before deciding anything, I want you to ask yourself one last thing. What do you really want? Not what would be easier or more convenient, but what you deep down feel would be right. Because in the end, that's what matters. That's what will determine if you'll look back one day and regret what you didn't do, or if you'll feel that in some way you made the right decision. So go ahead, take a moment, think, feel. This is your chance to be true to yourself and to this person. Don't waste it. So now it's up to you. What are you going to do? Are you going to let this opportunity pass by unnoticed, or will you allow what has been exposed to turn into something real? Only you have that answer. But remember, even staying silent is a choice. And choices have consequences. They shape what comes next. Ignoring a feeling doesn't make it disappear. It just creates more barriers, more distances. And in the end, what remains is the doubt, the weight of what if. Have you felt this before? That feeling that something was there, so close, so possible, but slipped away because you didn't have the courage to act? Don't let that happen again. Don't allow the fear of making a mistake to be greater than the possibility of living something real. Because the truth is that living with uncertainty can be much more painful than facing reality. Even if the answer is not what you expect, even if the path is not easy, what matters is that you were honest, that you chose to act. And do you know what is most important now? Your sincerity. It doesn't need to be perfect. You don't need all the answers. You just need to be truthful. Because in the end, that's what we're all looking for. Authenticity. A space where we can be ourselves, without masks, without fear. If that person had the courage to expose what they feel, maybe it's your turn to do the same. Even if that means taking risks, even if it's uncomfortable, you are not alone on this journey. Everyone has had moments when they needed to make difficult decisions, when they needed to choose between fear and courage. What you do now defines not only what happens with this situation, but also what happens with you. Isn't it time to open your eyes and your heart to something new? Something that can be transformative, even if you don't yet know how. And now, I want you to reflect with me. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, am I living according to what I feel, or am I letting fear take over my choices? It's a powerful question, and the answer can change everything. Don't be afraid to hear what your heart has to say. If this message made sense to you, if it awakened something inside you, I want to hear your opinion. Leave your comment down below. Tell me what you would do in this situation, or how you deal with unexpected feelings. Your voice matters. It is through it that we can create this connection, this space for reflection and exchange. Also, take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel. Here we talk about things that really matter, things that move our soul, that make us grow. Don't miss the chance to be part of this. Leave your like, because that's how I know I'm reaching you, that this message is making a difference. And more importantly, share this message with someone who might need to hear it today. Because we all need a push, a word that inspires us, that reminds us that in the end what really matters is living with an open heart. And now tell me, what will be your next step?